Mike, talk a little bit about kind of what we've been planning for, praying for as we think about community and we think about where we are. Give us a little bit of a, what I like to call a sit rep, little situation report on where we are financially as a church, what happened in 2020, and kind of as we're thinking those things through too.
Yeah, perfect. It's very interesting timing because I joined in 19, so March of 19, I came in and joined Jamie Keller, who's sitting over there in her Drew Brees sweater. And
did y'all catch that? He called it a sweater because that's what they call a hockey jersey. It's a Drew Brees sweater. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
And the first thing that we wanted to look at was obviously foundationally processes were in place and bank infrastructure was in place, but just how long ago did we update that? Is that what we needed for the next stage of growth? And so we were very fortunate that we spent a lot of 19 reviewing those and readdressing a lot of the people that we do business with from a financial perspective, systems that we use, process, the reports, just getting our hands around kind of all the data. And I want to say we almost closed that out at the end of the fiscal year, which would have been March of 2020, just in time for obviously this to happen. And so it was very easy for us, and I think it was the first week of March that we had some meetings, and we grabbed every vendor, any potential camp that we may be going to, kind of all activities that we knew were going to be happening and that we were potentially financially committed to. We also grabbed every number that we just spent a lot of time putting into documents and go, what are all the levers? What can we adjust? And so we were able to sit down and make a lot of assumptions and try to go, what could our patterns of giving, what could that look like over this time? As well as if we didn't do such camps or VBS or some of the other activities, what could that look like? And we made some very conservative decisions.
Very conservative.
Very conservative decisions on holding back on a lot of that. I probably over-negotiated quite a bit. I was pretty aggressive. I don't know, something about the church mindset versus the business mindset. I felt like I needed to push a little harder. So we were calling camps, and they're going, this is what we can do. And we're going, no, this is what you're going to do. And we really pushed that. In love. And we pushed that pretty hard to make sure that we were financially prepared to weather what was coming, not knowing what it was actually going to be. And so, yeah, we felt very good about our ability to manage that. And so, just some of the numbers, Max talked about it on stage before, we saw about 18% drop in our financial income giving and from those camps and those activities in 2020. We dropped our expenses just as much, if not greater than that. And so we were able to keep everyone employed, which was one of the number one goals, if not the top goal for us to get through that. We were able to make sure that all things were paid, where we needed to be paid. So there's no one that we owe anything to that's unique versus, that we have a mortgage and stuff like that. But we were able to financially get through this past year, and I'm happy to sit here in this position than where we could have been. That's a long word.
No, that's a great answer. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that deserves clapping. That was no small feat.
And I want to reiterate something that I said. When I tell you our staff is so gifted and so upright morally, none of us is perfect, but this staff is unbelievable. And having Mike's business acumen, his mindset, his growth orientation, coupled with Jamie's incredible skill and acumen at managing. Jamie Keller, Jamie, will you stand up in your Drew Brees jersey, please? Sweater. Jamie Keller, Jamie really functions as our controller. And so Jamie's in the trenches day in and day out and does an amazing job. But I also want to commend the rest of our staff who did an incredible job of managing financial resources throughout last year so that we're in a position now that though our income is down, our expenses were correspondingly down. We're at a place now where we've got some powder that we kept dry so that we can hit the ground running when all of this has passed us. We're acting like it's done. We know it's not done yet. We're anxious to restart our second service. We were actually targeting starting our second service in January, but with the number spike that we've seen of COVID cases and hospitalizations and ventilator usage and ICU beds being occupied, when they start opening up the convention center for a field hospital, we feel like it's our responsibility to do everything we can to keep everybody safe, but also continue moving forward. And that's going to continue to be our posture. We're going to continue to move forward with wisdom and prayer and caution. So to that end, I think Mike and Jamie especially, but our entire staff's done just an amazing job of managing the financial side of it. I also want to say this. When you think about our staff, I want to go back to Pastor Ryan Kelsheimer. Ryan has done an incredible job as our pastor of Next Gen Ministries, working with Emily Richard, Kaylee McDaniel. I said Kaylee McDaniel. Kaylee McDaniel, they've done an incredible job. We continue to search for a student pastor. We are praying hard for that, looking for that person. Having said that, under Ryan and Emily's leadership, our middle school and high school ministries have done incredible ministry of the lives of the kids that we have. And I realize that where Emily is concerned, I'm biased, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. They've done an amazing job in incredibly trying circumstances, and we are beyond grateful to them for what they've done and continue to do as we search for God's person for those roles. Mike, talk, if you would, just a little bit about kind of where we're going and what we're doing in terms of kind of dreaming and thinking a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a big part of that is making sure we're financially strong to get there. And so Pastor Mac hears it from me quite a bit. I'm constantly like, let's move the needle. Let's go further. Let's go bigger. And really challenge that status quo is not what he wants from us, and that's not what we have in front of us here as a church. We have a few things, and we started to partner with some of these people as well, or organizations out there. One is called Enjoy. And so Enjoy has come because they help churches. I think it's over 3,000 across America, small, medium, and large churches, to bring in financial, we're going to call it financial wellness classes. There's a lot of curriculum and activity that's going on that we are going to launch throughout the year this year, as well as they are strategic about just scaling the church. And so they've helped a lot of churches. And so for us, knowing what that next level looks like and some of the activities. And so we have them as kind of matter experts that have come alongside here with us. Some of the things we're looking at. We have over 43 acres here on property.
40.5.
40.5. We are not using more than probably 7 or 8 of it. And so we know that we are blessed with this property here in such a great location that's continually being built out around it from California. And a lot can be done with this. So we are actually working. We have meetings starting next week to start to dream and pray and think about what else could we put for facilities on the property here that support the growth and some of the initiatives that we already have, as well as what can we do more for Lake Hills and the community around us.
And I think we've always done this, Mike, even long before Mike and Lori Ward joined the church or even knew about Lake Hills Church. We've always looked at facilities as that which facilitates ministry. And so that's what we're talking about, and that's what we're inviting you into starting this year. We're going to be brainstorming, prayer storming, thinking about where is it that God is leading us and what does he want us to do. We've got some ideas already, but we want to hear and we want to listen as much as we tell and see where God is leading us.
Yeah, and so we really bring that information or those insights and those thoughts to us, because we're going to get that ball rolling. Like we said, we've already started, but somewhat aggressively next week and get into some of those discussions. And so a lot can be done on this property, and we're excited to start planning that
And going
out.
back to something that Mike just talked about, we piloted a program back in December with our staff and some key leaders in our church of this financial wellness program and clarity. One of the things that we've learned about our church is to know that there are a lot of us who are wrestling with financial anxiety and unwellness. A lot of us. And so we want to, as a church, that's such a big part of life. The Bible speaks to it so directly. We want to help alleviate as much of that as we can. And so this financial wellness program and class you'll be seeing and hearing more of, I want to encourage you, I want to challenge you to take advantage of it. Take advantage. If you're not struggling, but you're doing great, get sharper at it. Ryan Hahn, where's Ryan Hahn? Up there. Ryan is on fire to help make this thing happen. I mean, he's like, where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? And so he's just one example, but it's an incredible thing that is a part of us as a community being healthier and stronger individually, and therefore healthier and stronger together. Will y'all please join Julie and me in giving it up for Mike Ward? Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.